Yep.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week. This week we are going to share with you our favorite things that we love about the van.
So we put it through its paces this year. We put over 30,000 kilometers on the van, so we've had a chance to learn what we like, and then
what we don't like.
Yeah, and then we know what we don't like. So we're going to talk about what we like this one, stay positive, and then maybe coming up soon we'll talk about what we don't like.
And what we're going to change.
Yeah, exactly. That's the nice thing. Since we built this, if we don't like something, we'll just change it. So.
And that's the great thing is we know how to change it.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get into showing you all the favorite things that we love about this van.
So our first thing about the van that we love is 100% our roof rack, because it just goes ahead and takes the square footage of the van and it adds an entire like patio basically up on the top. So we love it because we've been able to, it looks great, it really changed the entire look of the van, but it also has been so functional because we can strap things down up there, we can sit up there, and it just kind of carries this entire look of this. Instead of having just a big white van, now it's got this powder coated aluminum that's carried all the way through the van, starting from the very front with that brush guard, leading into the top, the roof rack, the ladders, the Nerf bars along the bottom, and then most recently the tire rack that we put on the back. So we love the roof rack. It's been so solid. It's custom made by Stoked Adventure Outfitters out of Squamish, BC, and we just love what they did for us. It was amazing that they were able just to put it on there. And Nicole at the beginning of the year was like, we need a roof rack on there, and I was like looking at all the expenses of this van thinking there's no way this is happening this year, but we made it work, and I'm so happy that we did. Just having the light bar built right into it, having the solar panels, it was the way to go. It's just such a must-have. So let's go take a quick look at it. Yeah, the ladder on the side here, and then we got the optional ladder on the back too. So if we ever like destroy this ladder and hit a tree on the way into our place, at least we can still get up there.
I hope not.
Hopefully not. And yeah, it's just so sturdy. And now that we've got the suspension upgrades, it's even more rock solid up here. It doesn't feel like it's tipping around as you're kind of walking around. But now that we're getting into the winter months, we're gonna have to wipe off the solar panels, so we'll be able to do that to keep the power and juice coming in, and then we can take care of our air conditioner. So this is great. Walk all the way around here. The next thing on our list is 100% the electrical system, because it makes or breaks the experience of the van. There is a lot of cleanup that needs to happen in here, and that's still something that's on my list, but it works. It's been rock solid. We haven't had a single issue. The battery bank, 600 amp hours, lasts us a long time. All lithium batteries, it powers our air conditioner. All of our outlets are 20 amp outlets. We can just plug anything in. We've got a fridge and a freezer running all the time. Really, I'd say like that was probably the one area where we had the biggest risk of something going wrong and had no issues. So I'm so happy with that. Pretty much all of it is Victron electric components, which are really common in van builds. And for those that were always in our van tour video, everyone was asking, saying we didn't show the garage. Well, here it is. There's not a whole lot to it. We've got a little bit of space, but we still got some work to do. We want to build shelves and stuff before we really show it off. So, but our water tanks in there and all that stuff.
And Chris's new Christmas decoration.
Yeah, my temperature sensor. Because now that it's getting cold in here, I'm trying to keep this thing warm enough with the heater so that we don't necessarily have to winterize it if we're planning on using it still most weekends throughout the winter. So yeah, that's the garage. Here's the electrical system. It will look way better. I feel embarrassed showing it off because it looks like a mess, but it will look way better next year once I do a little bit of cleaning up. I've got some ideas there. So electrical system was a huge plus.
The next thing we love is our bug screen, which is made from a company called Roll-Up that is Canadian made. They're based out of Montreal, Quebec. We absolutely love this screen because it is super neat and tidy when it is rolled up. It is magnetic latching so that you never have to worry. It just catches and seals really nicely, and it doubles as Keno jail. And she'll never push through.
She doesn't try.
It is not dog proof, but she will not pass the screen, so that's great for us.
And one of the things I was worried about with it was that because the screen's going to be on here all the time, even when it's rolled up, if we're not using it, I wanted to make sure that it looked good when the doors open and stuff. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to this one, was that it does look good. It's nice and it's nice and flat. It's not wrinkly all along the sides and stuff. And some of the other ones we saw certainly looked like that. So this looks good. It also kind of hides some of the exposed white metal that maybe we didn't have finished, so it works out well for that too. So another huge thing with where we take this van is a huge plus for this is that we have 4x4. So
we went back and forth when we were buying the van. Do we need 4x4? Do we want the EXT extended version of this van instead? And we almost sacrificed not getting 4x4 so that we could get the EXT, which gives you an extra 2 feet of van space. But we decided ultimately, based on how we like to travel, going down dirt roads, traveling in the winter, that we felt 4x4 was the best option for us, and I am so thankful that we did.
And one of the reasons why we considered cutting it off was just because at different times of the year, it's sometimes really hard to buy Sprinters, and especially during COVID, there was like a very small inventory. So if you weren't willing to kind of cut off some of those feature lists, it was hard to find something that kind of met all your needs and stuff. And 4x4 seemed to be pretty hard to come by. So this one actually came from Halifax. They were able to get it over from there. But yeah, I think that's one of the other big things about 4x4 is that you get a little bit more height. You get a little bit more of a lift out of it. I think it sits 4 inches higher than the normal rear-wheel drive van. So that's been really helpful.
We had to add on the steps because of it, because it was a little bit of a higher step in to get into the van, but definitely worth adding the steps for the clearance that we get.
Yeah, we noticed that when we started building and we were climbing in and out, like by the end of the day, our calves and our thighs were just burning.
So sore.
So 4x4, that's gotten us up and down some of those crazy roads. You might have been able to do it with rear-wheel drive, but we were able to do it with zero issues for the most part. There was a few,
some
other
of the
than
roads,
that beach. But
well, that beach and the one we went down in Bay of Fundy, I don't think we would have gotten back up if we had rear wheel.
Yeah, so who knows? It's hard to say, but it definitely made it a lot easier, I'd say.
And it's definitely a good peace of mind to have that if you are that kind of person that likes to adventure off to the beaten path a little bit more, 4x4 is definitely something that you should consider.
Yeah, so get 4x4.
So the bed is one of our favorite spots. We obviously spend a ton of time sleeping, so that is something that we really want to make sure we did exactly what would be the best for us. We went back and forth. It was a hot topic. Do we do a fixed bed? Do we do a table to bed conversion so that the table comes up and down during the day? Chris and I, after some thought, instantly knew that we are not those kind of people to put the bed up and down every day, make the bed, take the bed apart. No, that's just not us. So the fixed bed was the best option. And honestly, I rented a van for Tobermory and it was a table to bed conversion, and the foam slipped out. It just wasn't the most comfortable sleep that I've had, and I am going to be in another table to bed conversion very shortly, and so I'll give you another update on how I feel about that. I love it for its space, but ultimately I think for the sleep aspect, a fixed bed is the best option. We looked at saving a little bit of space by doing the bed lengthwise instead of this way to maybe save about 2 feet, but Chris and I are both tall people. I'm 5'7", he's 6'1", and we didn't fit. We'd be kind of cramped and tight, so we felt that also because we have a little fluffy buddy that sleeps with us every night that takes up a good chunk of the bed, we opted to just do it lengthwise. We went with an RV Queen mattress. It was already a fixed firm foam mattress, and it gave us pretty much exactly the amount of space we needed, and we just filled the gap with some side cubbies that we have, which are perfect for some extra storage.
And Nicole, one of Nicole's things about the conversion bed that she always liked the idea of was that you could just open up the back door and you get like kind of that whole view and for photos and everything right looking out back there. But the other thing that it was a huge plus for this style was that we tend to bring a lot of stuff when we go camping. We've got our big drone, we've got our one wheels now, we've got like barbecue, and by doing this we have a huge, like a good sized garage underneath, and I can't really imagine having to try to fit that all into underneath seats and all that stuff. I think it would just make it a lot harder for the amount of things that we personally decide to bring along on some of these trips.
That garage was jammed when we went to BC, and I don't know how we would have fit half of that stuff in this van if this wasn't a fixed bed and we had that space underneath.
Yeah, so the thing is, it just works for us. That's the key about it. And we still managed to have a table.
Speaking of the table, that is one of our other favorite things about the van. We really wanted to make sure that we didn't compromise being able to sit down and have a meal inside if it was rainy or as the winter comes on. We spend all of our time in the summer outside eating, but this is a great spot to kind of come in. So we really wanted to find a way, how do we fit a table in now that we don't have the option to have this drop down into it, like a table to bed conversion. So I spent some time on the internet and we didn't see a lot of options, but there were a few people out there that had done something like this. So Chris did a ton of research on what kind of slides we needed to be able to hold the weight of this solid wood walnut table, and I absolutely love it. It's perfect. It's big enough for us to be able to fit both of our laptops, iPad, 2 dinner plates, and it is very comfortable and also leaves a spot for me to get out. Poor Chris does get stuck in there, but ultimately it is an awesome place to be able to just have a quick meal if we need it. And we made sure, watch out Keno, we made sure we put latches in that should we hit the brakes really hard, it will not fly out. So it takes a little bit of a force, but it is in there solid.
We just used heavy duty rails in this case, which I think were rated to like
400 pounds. 400
pounds collectively with the pair. Probably something else would break before before they would break. But then underneath what we did was I put these little catches. They're like drawer catches, and they're really small, but I put 4 of them, and that's what catches it when you push it in there. And I wasn't really sure how well it would work, but honestly it's held up. We open it up and close it all the time, and it's still just as strong as it was day one, so it's been good.
Considering I almost hit a moose, my camera flew off, the dog flew off, but the table stayed closed.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
I don't think it's a problem.
So one of the next things, this was something that was thought about pretty early on. I think it was like the first weekend when we were like, okay, we decided to buy the van. Air conditioning was one of the first things that we had thought of, and that's probably a luxury item for most van lifers, but it was just something that we really felt we needed with the dog in the van and everything. But the key was that figuring out how are we going to have an air conditioner in a van that we don't need to be plugged into shore power all the time, because our air conditioner in our last trailer, you always had to be plugged in or you had to have a generator running. So started looking up like 12-volt air conditioners, and really at the time this was one of the only options that were available. So it's the pneumatic cooling air conditioner, AC, I think it's the AC 3000 model, and it's been a lifesaver all summer. We even use it even like in the winter here, or when it's cooler, we'll still use the fan because it creates that white noise while you're sleeping, which is really nice, and it just blows down right above you. You can turn the little vents to choose whichever way you want to go. And in terms of power consumption, it's actually been pretty good. Like we have a pretty huge battery bank of 600 amp hours, but what we find is, like, if it's kind of an average day, maybe it's like in the mid 20s degrees Celsius outside and stuff, and we're running that, we might go to bed with 90% battery and wake up with 70, but we were able to stay cool all night, which is perfect. Now if you have hotter temperatures, sure, you're going to use more and you can go through that much quicker, but we found through the summer we were able to manage that quite nicely, and it's all managed from this little remote here. Now the key is, as long as we don't lose this remote, because when we're driving sometimes this goes, so now we just need to keep it right here so we don't lose it. But you basically just turn it on and then you can control the fan speed. You won't be able to hear me when I turn it up, but so it's been awesome. Honestly, such a great investment on the van, and I think it's just like the electrical system, it completely changed the way that our experience, because it allows us to get good sleeps. So one of the next best things is this 12-volt Dometic fridge that we've got here. It does have a little freezer in it, but we found, honestly, it was just a great design. We love the stainless steel, and the size of it's actually pretty good for being in a van. One of the big things that we liked about it, because on our trailer when we were driving, the fridge would pop open sometimes and the food would fall out. This has a nice locking latch on it, so you have to pull on it to open. It's even got a little vent so that when the fridge is not being used, you can just leave it in the open position, and then, because we used to, like in the trailer, stick like ice cube trays in there to try to keep it open while we're driving so that it didn't start to smell, or if we weren't using it. So no, this is a great freezer. It's a fridge freezer. It's the CRX 1140 model, and it's got a lot of space, drawers, everything in here, and then the little freezer space on the top, so I've been hugely happy with that.
So one of the things that we took from the trailer that we really wanted to put in here was that fridge really only has a freezer this big. And we bring a lot of freezer goods. Typically we just eat a lot of ice cream. So we thought about how can we incorporate a freezer and where the heck can we stick it? And we realized as we started to build out the garage space that there was a lot of wasted space in the front, and it came to us, let's cut a hole underneath the bed and stick the freezer here. So we built this box with the door to fit the freezer. This is a Dometic CFX 355 freezer. It's got 3 compartments. It's fairly big. We've never filled it to the max. Typically when the fridge is full, you can also turn this into a fridge. You can just change the temperature, which is really great. I believe it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Not that we really need it for that, but you can use it to change the temperature or remotely, I guess.
Anytime you get it is a 12-volt freezer as well, which is incredible. It draws very little power, so between really only the fridge and the freezer are consistently running, the solar can definitely charge these 2 items when the van is off. So one of the things that we really struggled when we had our RV was it was only a 3-season trailer. We'd put it away at the end of every fall, and what would we do in the winter? We have our snowmobiles, which is incredible, but we weren't able to camp and be able to do all the things that we wanted. So our priority was to make this a 4-season rig. So what we did was we thoroughly thought out how were we going to insulate it to the max. We did a ton of research between wool insulation, regular insulation, spray foam. We decided to go with spray foam. There didn't really seem to be any one thing that came above the other. We opted for spray foam and we are super happy with that. So we have spray foam the entire van except for the doors, which you can see, which will be coming. We will be insulating them, not with spray foam, but we will be insulating the doors. But that was something. So the spray foam is the first start, and then we installed our S-Bar diesel heater, which sits underneath our passenger seat. That keeps the van so toasty. Yeah, the controller sits right here. We actually find we have to set the temperature 2 degrees lower than the temperature we want to get it to, because the space is only 86 square feet and it is so quick to heat up, and it stays very warm all night long. We also have heated floors for the winter. They're not hooked up yet, but that's a project for Chris.
Yeah, they will be.
They will be. They've got their switch in here all ready to go. And there's 2 floor heaters. One's running right underneath Chris's feet from the front door to the fridge, and then the other one's running right here where I'm standing, right where we'd be sitting for dinner and meals or walking from the toilet to the bed. So that's going to help keep the floor. The floor is spray foamed, but it's just going to be an extra little bit of way to warm because I'm standing here on the floor and it is a little cold and it is 6 degrees outside. Excuse me, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. This is the best view while driving. I kid you not. So this is probably one of my favorite things about the van. Having a toilet in this van is life-changing. Being able to go to the bathroom when you're on the road is so hard, especially with COVID. A lot of the gas stations were closed, restaurants were closed down completely for some period of time. This is the Nature's Head toilet. It is a composting toilet, so it separates number 1 and number 2s. So the number 1s go into the front and is literally just a jug that you dump into a proper receptacle, whether it be an outhouse, a toilet, and then the back is the poop. Everyone loves to talk about poop, right? We use coconut coir. You can also use, I think, peat moss, and then everything goes in. You use this shifter handle here. The Nature's Head comes with a few different handles. We chose this one so that it could fit into the unit, and you literally just roll it in and everything composts. There's a little vent that runs out the side of the van and underneath, and it vents out. We cannot smell it because we've had a few questions about that. We cannot smell it when we're sitting out there, and it just helps bring some air into the toilet to help compost everything. Also, ladies and gentlemen, check your pee bucket frequently. It's overflowed twice on me now.
Yeah, and that is not fun.
So I 100% am the one that has to care for this toilet. It is my favorite thing. So Chris won't touch it. He'll use it, but he will not clean it. He is terrified of it, and he pretty much has to go a block away when I empty this toilet.
Yeah, and at least we know that the one that empties it is the one that uses it the most. So one of the things that we're really excited about for this van is to have it a smart van, so we can actually control and see everything about it from our phone and make sure that everything's okay, especially when we have Keno left behind in here. So We have a Wi-Fi hub in here, which allows us to connect everything so it stays connected to cellular. So assuming we're on a cellular network, then we're fine. When some of the remote spots, we might be looking at something called a WeBoost that goes on the outside to kind of boost the signal in here so we can even be connected more. But that allows us to connect to things like a Ring security system, which arms all the doors. So if a door ever opens in here, we know about it. We've got the camera that turns on when we're away so we can see in here and make sure everything's okay with Keno, temperature sensors. That way we know that everything's working. And then the entire electrical system is also connected as well. So from my phone, I can see what the battery percentage is, how much usage is actually taking place, how much solar is coming in, and you can check that all remotely, which is awesome, especially when we have it in storage and I want to go ahead and see, okay, well, has the solar been keeping up with the battery or what? So this entire touchscreen here is controllable and accessible from your phone, which is awesome. And I think, I've been super proud of how we set that up, and it's been working really well.
So one of the things that we really love about the van is the design of the van itself, the interior design. We really wanted a space that felt bright and big, or as big as you can make it in 86 square feet. And we really like neutral tones. Our house is very neutral toned, and we really wanted to like pull that through. We love like the nature tones outside, and we just like, obviously we're spending so much time outside, we really wanted to like pull that into the van. A lot of people go with white. They say don't go with white because it gets dirty. It does get dirty, but I feel that if we went with any other color, the van would definitely feel smaller. These pot lights bring so much light into our space that it really does help make the white feel so much bigger. We didn't want solid white cabinets. We knew that they would get filthy, so we loved going with a pop of the rattan color, that neutral king color. And we wanted something dark to kind of complement, so we went with a dark walnut countertop. One thing we weren't 100% sure about when we did the backsplash was Chris was a little unsure if it was going to hold up on some of the back roads that we went up and down. We have done 30,000 kilometers and some pretty crappy roads and not a single crack. I really wanted to go with a pop of color in the back because Keno's paws are permanently dirty, so we wanted to make sure that we had a dark duvet color, so we went with a burnt orange color, and I absolutely love how it pops in the back. It's just something different and kind of pops against all of the white, and we wanted to choose something again a little bit more of a colored tone for our seat cushions, again thinking of Keno's dirty feet. So we chose a nice chambray blue color for our cushion covers. And overall, I'm super happy with just how the colors all pulled together and how bright everything is in here. Because it is dark outside now, and you would not know how dark it is based on how much light we've got coming into the van right now. The last thing that we really like about the van is our water purifier system. It was really important to us to be able to have water on the go, not use single-use plastic, and also be able to give Keno and ourselves water that we know is purified and safe to drink. So we went with this water purifier system that kills 99.999% of bacteria and germs, and the water tastes incredible no matter where we fill up the water systems from. How it purifies is it goes through a two-stage purification system. So it goes through a water filter first, and then it goes through a UV filter system at the very end to come out and bring us clean water.
And just not having, like in the past with our trailer, we would always have those big, huge jugs from the grocery store, and there's just not any room in here for that. So being able to go and fill up from a hose somewhere, fill up the water tank, and just carry it all back there and just top up our water bottles here has been wonderful. Great.
Both sets of taps come straight from our 40-gallon water tank, so it's just plumbed that way to go back and pull out of. This is just purifying the water in case there's anything in there that is unsafe for us or Keno to drink.
Yeah.
Keno, we forgot to ask you what your favorite thing about the van is.
I like the 10-pack of Timbits.
You like the Timbits?
I like the Timbits.
All right, let's go get you some Timbits.
We'll do a 10-pack of old-fashioned plain Timbits. That's great.
Do you want a Timbit? There you go.
So we hope you loved everything that we love about the van as much as we do. We are so happy about how everything turned out. Obviously, we are at about 90% completion and we've got a little bit more work to do this winter, but we're excited to continue to build, do some more projects, because it gives us something to do in the winter when we're not out snowmobiling or camping.
Yeah, exactly. Or in those in-between seasons when we can't yet snowmobile and all that. So if you enjoyed this video, let us know below. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We love that. It really helps us out. And stay tuned, because we are going to be coming back with another video coming up here with things that we don't like about the van, which might be a little interesting. So because
we've got a few things that
really little things that bug us.
Really grind our gears that we really haven't shared prior to next week's video.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the negatives about the van, and then and maybe we'll put a spin on it, and most of them I think we've got a plan on how to fix them.
Yes. So it's just a good learning experience, but we will see you next week for all the things that we don't love about the van.
See you next week. Have a great week, guys.
But in all seriousness, there's a poop stain on the toilet, so we're not going to open the lid. You want me to clean it? There's a poop stain on the toilet.
Really? Oh, God. Yeah, we may want to clean that.